Hi, welcome back channel, TrainStation2. Alright, finally we got first in the third competition after getting third for twice. This is the first time we managed to do well. Finally, I would say, all thanks to this epic train. The epic train I'm talking about is the event train, the CSD class 476.1. This epic train, of course, it cost me about 2,000 event keys. I would have basically, if I wish to wait a while, we will be able to generate 3,000 keys for the legendary train. But that being said, the special job of 70 EPs require this epic train, and I'm quite surprised that there isn't any difficulty phase whereby they ask for the legendary train after which. And the purpose of spending that 2,000 event keys is for this challenge, which we'll manage to get additional about 200 EPs, some coins, and an additional dispatcher which we activate much later. So all this comes into play. I mean, it's about strategizing what's best for you, what to get from the challenges. And of course, EP hit starts is relatively important, especially the fact that we've unlocked almost all the jobs. This is 5 jobs in total. That gives a lot of EP hit starts for the third competition. That being said, we also have a lot of opportunity to generate the number of that event factory finished products, all thanks to the fact that we have finished all the improved jobs. So the improved jobs gives you better returns in terms of the input of the raw materials. You just generate, you can see it's highlighted 150. It just means it's better than normally the rate of return. So all this really comes into play. If you have not complete your improved jobs, please do so. It gives you a long runway which you basically enjoy throughout the rest of the competition, because the improved jobs, once you have performed it is relevant throughout the whole event. So the earlier the better, of course. There will be 2 more competitions, unlike the normal event whereby 6 in total. There will only be 5 competitions for this event. It is shortcut, but at the same time, I've got to bear this in mind. You got to make sure you have 1,000 event coin to gain that legendary train. So I would say it's tough, but still possible, hopefully. End of the day, there will be challenges that you need to complete. Those challenges give you first getting 50 event coins. That adds a bit more compared to just focusing on winning competition. You got to focus on winning the challenges as well. So that additional do plays a part, because even you get first, you're just getting 300 event coin. 3 first give you 900, and you're still short of 100. That being said, I've gotten just 2 third and 1 first, and of course together with some of the mini challenges coins, hopefully by the end of the 4th competition we should be able to churn out that legendary train. As for the number of event keys, save up another 3,000. I think it's quite unlikely, because we'll spend it on the epic train. So most likely we'll give that 3,000 event keys legendary train a miss, and go to exchange out the common as well as the rare train. And if there's still any balance, then maybe parts, if not if suffice, we will go for the special building. So all this comes in because of the differences of the number of competitions. So had it be a slightly longer event with 6 competitions, we may be able to generate that legendary train. But I welcome the change that this time around, even though it's a special 70 EP job, it allows you to use the other batch trains to perform that job. Rather, in the past, it was just stuck with legendary or epic train, and most of the time you only have one. It just means that whenever they ask for the one that you do not have, for example, in this context, they ask for the legendary batch trains, I will be stuck with that job. But it didn't happen at all throughout the third competition. So I'm really glad with that change. But that being said, it just gets tough because of the huge amount of finished products, or so-called event finished products, needs to be delivered to every single job sometimes. So it is quite tough. It just makes life really tough, because there is only but just one event factory. So It depends on how much you have invested to get the number of manufacturing slots. For me, I've already invested 110 gems for 2 additional slots. You got to think about not just the slots of manufacturing, but rather the speed of churning out the event factory materials. So you got to make use sometimes of those scraps to increase the production. That's the one way to do so. The other one is really to increase the capacity of your event train as well. So when you send for deliveries in the huge quantity being asked upon, you better have a slightly edge over the rest of the competitors. So there are 2 ways of increasing the capacity of the batch trains. One is using the scraps earned from the events, and the other one is using your union dollars. So union dollars play a critical role in such long events, and you got to really save up the union dollars for such purposes and not spend it for something else. The other thing about is gems. Gems would be earned throughout the event, sometimes from the reward path, watching a video and whatnot. But the limited amount of gems, you can actually spend it to do various stuff. Of course, the most obvious one is to expedite production, or to just expedite the return or the delivery by your dispatchers. But I think more importantly is to save up at least 110 gems to invest in long events. The factory setup, I will call it, because the 3rd and 4th slots will cost you a total of 110 gems. So that's a must that you should do for every long event. Only after you have saved sufficient of that, you can use the gems for something else. The other thing about would be the gold. Gold is collected every single city or region that you have. So make sure you have a high capacity, a maximum 80 capacity event trains in every single region, so you could get a maximum of gold from every city. So that is just another way of doing things. And not forgetting that you have this logistics center. You should invest in them, and then so you could get the raw materials out really fast and a huge quantity. If you send in a good train of high capacity, then of course that saves you the fact that no dispatch will be required for this logistics center. These are some of the things you're going to really invest into, lay a very strong foundation. The other foundation you can talk about is all the other factories. So every factory you have, you're going to maximize all the manufacturing slots. So that was my strategy in the past. I will not spend gems on anything until I finish fully upgraded all the non-event factories. So that actually sets as a foundation. So once you have done that, then of course you can spend your gems for something else. The other thing about housekeeping is because of limited warehouse spaces. The fact that we have limited warehouse spaces is because we don't really invest much in terms of building population. 5 building technique I've been using for a while. It does helps, but you need really discipline and keep on doing those region or also called your factory jobs, your region jobs, put it aside, and then just put on your caps to make sure you focus on building population. So that's something that I got always distracted by the other things. But building population is relatively important, because with sufficient population, then you can actually increase the warehouse capacity. Being very lazy with laying out all the buildings, I just find it's hassle. The fact that you can lay out every single building to get your maximum population before they calculate how much you can upgrade for your this warehouse. That is just something that doesn't really fancy me. So I'm not into really laying out every single building every time I log in the game. I'll just start with the 5 building technique, and after probably a long while, and probably one day I will decide to lay out all the buildings again, just to check out how much I can increase the capacity of the warehouse. But that's not something that excites me, because I know regular housekeeping do the trick of even we can survive with the small warehouse space that we have. So this is not something, if you enjoy lots of space, then by all means lay out all the buildings. But for me, I'm really happy with using the 5 building technique by just laying out 5 buildings. That's the fastest approach for me, right? So With that, I think we come to the end of the competition. So you can see about 1,100 EP gap about there, all thanks to the fact that we have that epic train with us. So that makes a huge difference. And of course, unlock the jobs all along. Then you have 5 jobs end of the day. If initially you have lesser, then it's tough to fight. Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe, and all the best for the next 2 competition. Goodbye.